Ah, well, there's two very well-known Kevins, and yourself and Kevin Briggs. Um, Kevin's, well, I'll invite him to speak in a few minutes. He can introduce himself. Okay, then. Right. My name's Dave Graham. I have a background as a regression therapist, hypnotherapist to do quite a lot of spirit release work, and I have an interested in extraterrestrial presence on Earth and within Earth. I had missing time when I was 4 years old, and in a local, in fact, is it Joe? Is she there still? It's a local place, Licky Hills, and Joe might know it. Oh, there you are. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. Uh, and I was only 4 years old. And again, one or two things as an adult. Um, let's see what else to tell you about. As a regression therapist, I've had a few th things happen that I've been involved in. One, for example, is clients going to lives on other planets when I haven't sent them there. They've just gone there. I've told them to something like go to the place you need to go to, and they've gone to another planet. Often it's been the common theme in those sessions, for me at least, has been they're feeling lost. They're feeling they don't fit in. Um, and it's almost like a reconnection to help them along and to rekindle their energy. Um, the flip side of that is almost like a spiritual sort of rejuvenation, going to a place of high energy and uh, more clearly loving energy than you're likely to find on Earth, and that seems to be the things with those. I've also had my first incarnation on Earth, where I found myself on a craft alongside a couple of extraterrestrial beings. I look very much like Arcturian, looking at maps on the wall or screens on the wall, rather. And that was fine. And then I'd find myself in a pod full of what I described at the time as wallpaper paste, or a substance that felt like wallpaper paste. And then I found myself on the ground looking up at the sky, and the sky was full of craft, and several of the craft had light beams coming down to the surface of Earth. And within those light beams, when I focused, I could see little figures, look like little bodies coming down. It seemed to me as though it was some kind of population event that was going on. But anyway, so there's some of my personal experiences and some of my training that's going on there. I'll talk about. I'll just briefly mention something I mentioned a week or so back. Uh, when I started as a regression therapist, I had an experience where I was working with someone, and they went to a life where they were a student to a some kind of guru, um, guru that was called a master of alchemy. Yet this master of alchemy was a woman, and living within a society that was dominated by women. It was led by women rather than men. There's nothing you find about that in our history. recorded histories, but that's what was happening there. The the specific part of it that really sort of grabbed me was this master of alchemy said, as we went into this regression, the master of alchemy that we were connecting with says, welcome, we have been waiting for you. And it sort of launched me into a direction where I wanted to understand more. How did that work? We were in their future, or supposedly in their future. How did that work? Is how does time work? Is it all in the now? Lots of questions, or is it all rubbish? Um, and that thing was pretty clearly, you know, eliminated as a possibility. Because the other part about it was many of these sessions, the kind of energy that's generated is just enormous. The My body would be tingling all over on many occasions, and so it was something where it felt like I was being invited to explore this area, and so I did, and not regretted it. Okay, so where are we at? Okay, how many are there here? 16 of us, that's fine. Okay, what we're going to do, if that's... Hi, Howard, I just spotted you there.
Morning.
Morning. Oh, yeah. Evening. um, Now, as I'm guessing there are people of lots of experience here and very, very little experience here. Fine. I'm really just creating this and inviting people to join and to say maybe a few words about themselves. You don't have to say that much, just as much as you feel comfortable with. Maybe which, part of the world you live in. And if you have experiences, um, share them. If you have views on all this, particularly in terms of um, do we already know each other, share those also. Now, that question of do we already know each other, it's a little non-specific and deliberately so, I claim. Um, I've had experiences working with people um, where in regressions you can go to a point beyond the physical life into what's often termed a life between lives, sort of an expression coined by a guy called Michael Newton. And one of the features of these sessions between lives is often going to a point where we're focusing on the incarnation we're going to have next, the incarnation we're in now. And at that point, I've realized there are others that can come along and make suggestions or offer advice, or we can cooperate with others. And when I was checking out this missing time event when I was 4 years old in this local country park, when I was exploring all that, I realized that uh, when I tried to check out, well, how come has this happened? I had the opportunity to address some of those beings. How come this has happened? Why this? Who set this up? Only to understand that it was actually me. I set it up before I came into the life. Um, and this is important in a way, for me at least. It's important in a way because it's not, I'm not a victim. It's important for me in that it's if it's something that you can take on and accept and process in a healthy kind of way, it's you realize you're not a victim. It's actually empowering. It's not someone out there doing something nasty to me or doing things against my will. I chose this and I asked those beings to work with me to assist me in challenges that I encounter in this life. So that's my story. But now I'm interested in your story. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be I'm going to invite any one of you to volunteer to say that bit about yourself, just your name or whatever you're comfortable with, what part of the world you live in, any experiences, and your views on this idea that we may already know each other in the way that I'm talking about there, in my personal experience, or some people may interpret that as do we already know each other in terms of have ETs been around for loads and loads of years and we've not we've been a bit blind to them. So, anyone like to go first? Or can see
Oh,
Monique's hand
Nick,
go up.
putting a hand up, look.
Oops, sorry. Who is that? Who wants to go first? I can hear Kevin's voice, and I saw Monique's hand go up. And
Yeah, it was Monique. She was raising a hand, I think.
okay, do you want to go for that, Monique?
We have a raise
You're
hand
on mute
feature
at the
too.
moment.
Under React, there's a raise hand feature. People want to know
I'm
about that.
sorry, I had muted it because of the wind chimes, wooden wind chimes. But yeah, my name is Monique Brunette, and I live on the East Coast in Florida of the USA. And I have had multiple experiences from pretty much since I was in diapers. I've had multiple sleep paralysis events. I have my first abduction that I remember was when it's funny because the movie Taken, they show this little boy having the experience and the ETs put it on like it's a fairy tale kind of dreamy thing. That's exactly how it happened for me. It was my first experience was that I saw this thing. Of course, they make it appear like a dream because, so you don't get freaked out. And I was obsessed with this container that we had that my mother used for planting pot, having dirt to, she was a gardener. And it's like the ET kind of, cued into that. And they knew that I seemed to have this deep interest in it. So then one night I saw myself going down out onto the property. We lived on a lake, and I in the it was made to look more like a raft, and I saw who I thought was my grandmother in it, and I got in this raft with my grandmother, thinking it's going to go across the lake, but instead we lifted up and got higher and higher and higher, and I could see Earth, and it was getting smaller and smaller, and I could see space all around me. So that was my first realization. I was very, very young, probably not even 5 years old at the time. And then I dealt with demonic entities also from a small child all the way up into my early adult years until I finally, fought back. And then I've had my dealings with my most recent was the orange ebens. I was awake this time. It wasn't a sleep paralysis. And I was woken up at 2:59 in the morning and my phone was ringing, and crazy enough, it said Home Depot. And I'm like, why is Home Depot calling me at 2:59 in the morning? They're not even open at that hour. And I know it wasn't a robocall because I never had, robocalls before. and it was really strange. Oh, and there was no answer, but I could hear this real, real static, swirling machine sound. And again, I said hello. And in the whole time I'm thinking this, I kept, like, when I was listening to it, I kept thinking, I just somehow knew this was ET's. And so then when nobody answered, of course, I hung up. And I was like, well, I'm up now. Let me go use the bathroom, because knowing my luck, I'll go lay back down and then boom, I'll have to go to the bathroom. So I went into the bathroom, came out, and I noticed my orange cat was staring at me. We have 5 cats, but it was the orange cat, and it was standing in the hallway and just staring. And I'm like, why is this cat staring at me like this? So part of me, even though I was kind of excited, thinking that maybe there was ETs, another part of me got a little nervous because of the way the cat was staring. And when I come back into the room, and I thought, well, it's just me, I'm just being silly, and got in the bed. I had just literally closed my eyes for a second. And when I did, they were opened right back up, because all of a sudden it was as if somebody had opened the cap off of an ammonia bottle and put it right under my nose. And all I could smell was ammonia so strong that it scared me, because I couldn't get regular air in my lungs. And I just started like praying real hard. Oh, I'm not ready to die. I don't want to die. And it started to dissipate after that. Now, in my beliefs, and then later on that evening, after all that had happened, of course, it freaked me out. I had a hard time finally, going back to sleep. But when I finally did, then I had a sleep paralysis. And then later on, after I woke up, I was like, no, that's it. I'm not going back to sleep. When the morning time had come, I come out into the dining room, and my sister said to me, what was that strange buzzing sound coming from your room? Well, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't hear any buzzing sound. Well, anyways, how I know it was or how I believe and really intuitively feel it was the orange evens. That was the mental picture I got, for starters. Because I got this mental picture that they had kind of goldish orange, oily skin, and smelled of ammonia and everything. So I put the symptoms in looking, and I found out that orange ebens smell strong of ammonia and make a buzzing sound. Now, I never heard the buzzing, but my sister did. So people are probably wondering, well, where is this going? But I believe that, if they really wanted to harm me, they could have. But they they could have just let me pass out or whatever, but they didn't when they saw that I got freaked out and everything. So I've heard, oh, this is, this race is bad or that race is bad, but I honestly believe that there's good and bad in, all races. And I really don't feel like they were there to harm me. And that I have so many multiple experiences, but I also want to be able to allow others to talk. But I will say that I do believe that we are here to try and help awaken and bring everyone to that collective consciousness of evolving our souls. So,
Okay, Monique. Yeah, thank you. I notice you speak of both extraterrestrials and demonic stuff. What do you associate them together, or do you see them
no,
as separate sort of thing?
I see them as separate. I think it's just like, because people, like, they'll believe in angels, but then apparently anything that's extraterrestrial, either they think they're demons, or the demons are reptilians. And I don't think so. I think these are totally different. That's just my view. I think reptilians are reptilians and demonics are demonics. And that's just my view.
Yeah. In terms of how you feel about them all, where does fear come into it? Do you feel scared of, or do you
I
feel
used to when
scared
I
of your
was younger,
experiences?
but I've had so many experiences that now I kind of like, it's like, okay, I The thing that had scared me for the longest time was dealing with the demonics, and I actually saw, not being in my sleep paralysis, but actually had seen physical manifestation of them, and I just basically said to them something in a light language, and that very stern, and they dissipated, and that's basically what I
Okay.
had to do. I just kind of had to be my own soldier for myself, you know what I mean? So, but I have
Okay.
experiences too of abductions of children. I've seen ET, my own ET children. So,
Okay.
all that too.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there's a wide range of experiences for you, isn't there? Yeah.
Yes.
Um, in terms of, do we already know each other? What's your view on that?
Oh
Just
yeah. I think on a
briefly.
soul level, on a
Yeah.
soul level, for sure.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Monique.
Thank you.
Charles has his hand up, so I'll invite Charles to go to speak
Yeah.
next.
So I haven't had any direct experiences with extraterrestrials, and honestly, until fairly recently, I always kind of discounted those ideas as being wholly false. And the reason that I always discounted them is simply because of how vast the distances are in outer space. I mean, just to get from our galaxy to the closest neighboring spiral galaxy, you got to go the speed of light for 2.5 million years. But fairly recently,
According
that
to
is a
our
few.
understanding of the galaxy and according to our technology. Yeah, I get
Indeed,
what you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah.
I a few years ago I learned relativity theory, and it turns out that indeed, if you have the technology to get infinitely close to the speed of light, then theoretically you could go infinitely far in an infinitely short period of time. So point being, they most certainly could be here. There's really no telling. Now, have y'all heard about the idea of the zoo hypothesis? It's the idea that aliens could be here watching us right now,
I
without
haven't
us
heard it
actually
called
knowing
that,
it.
but yes, I'm familiar with the idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the idea behind the zoo hypothesis is indeed, in some sense, that they are quite literally watching us right now, monitoring us. And
Mm,
if that is the case, then indeed, I would expect them to intervene rather soon, given that we're about to create potentially artificial superintelligence, which could be. I mean, I don't know if y'all have been keeping up with what's going on with artificial intelligence, but it's remarkable just how much progress we've been making. Um,
okay.
but yeah, and then also the next question is, will they be biological or artificial? My intuition tells me if they do come, if they are intelligent enough to actually come here, then indeed they will be artificial intelligence. But they could present themselves in any way. There's no telling as to just how intelligent they could be. This relates to something that Kevin's son and I were discussing in a meetup group yesterday, and that is, is there a limit to intelligence?
Mm,
They could literally be billions of times smarter than us. And for which matter, if they were to intervene, it might be that we might not even know it, quite
sure.
literally, because,
Yeah.
they could be so much more intelligent than us that, I mean, they could be all around us right now and we wouldn't even know it.
Sure, and of course, what we call intelligence may be a different experience from their perspective, also, is something that occurs to me. Um, did you say that you've had an experience in recent
I
years
ha-
or not?
I
No,
have not, no.
no, but
I have not
you've
had any
obviously got
direct.
an interest or a fascination for how this works, and
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's all just, so much unknown out there. It stuns me whenever people say that they aren't interested in relativity theory
Mm.
because it doesn't directly affect them, things like that. And it's just, it's hard for me to empathize with that. I'm so fascinated by all these kinds of ideas. But yeah,
Okay, yeah, okay, thanks, Joe. And
yeah, that's
what you're just saying about whether they're listening to this Zoom session now, for example.
yeah.
What's your view on it, Charles? Do they already know us? Do we already
Well,
know each other?
it's a good question. There's still a lot of debate as to, you know, um, just how rare intelligence is. Because as far as we know, we humans are the first intelligent species to exist on Earth, and it may have been just a concatenacy of coincidences that happened to lead to us becoming intelligent. It could be that if things had been just a little bit different initially, then it could be that intelligence would have never formed. And furthermore, I only recently learned that life has existed on Earth now for 4 billion years. For the first 2 billion years of which life was only single cellular. So it took life 2,000 million years to make that leap from single cellular to multicellular life. And we still don't know how that happened, and nor do we know how unlikely of an event that was. So it could be that the universe is teeming with single cellular life,
Yeah.
but there's only potentially at any one point in time, on average, one intelligent civilization per galaxy. Um, but who knows? It could be that it's a lot more common than we think. And then there's several other features about our situation that makes us especially rare, and that is one of them is the size of our moon relative to the size of our planets, which
Mhm.
gives our planet stability such that we can rotate, on one axis as opposed to rotating like this, which would essentially cause the Earth to switch from summer to winter quite literally once every 24 hours. And so there wouldn't be any stability. So, and there are several other things about our solar system that are very unique from what we can tell, in the sense that
Okay.
the vast majority of other solar systems don't have these particular characteristics.
Yeah. So okay. Thank you, Charles. So
Yeah.
you part of your fascination is just how things hang together in a particular way that can seem quite delicate in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, Charles. All right then.
absolutely.
Uh, Next volunteer.
I'll go next if you want,
Oh,
Kevin.
Howard's beat you to it, Kevin. He's got
Oh,
his
I
hand
did
up
it. Let
already.
Howard go. He's a lot older than me.
Okay. Maybe we'll go to young Kevin Briggs afterwards.
Well, that doesn't make me any more knowledgeable, just older.
Yeah.
Let me introduce myself first. I'm Howard Beatty, and I'm a retired hypnotherapist and spiritual regression therapist trained in the Michael Newton Life Between Lives process, as well as many other spiritual exploration processes, some of which I've developed myself with my clients in my own practice over about 25 years or so. And after, um, let me back up a minute. First, I live in Washington State in the USA. My hypnotherapy practice has focused primarily on spiritual regression and past life regression. And as a result of coaching many, many, many clients through their spiritual experiences in past lives, talking with their soul essence, their soul has experienced many previous incarnations on Earth, but as well as other planets as well. So the soul chooses to incarnate, plans on it beforehand, to incarnate on a wide variety of planets in a wide variety of galaxies, wherever they choose to learn the lessons of that environment. So that with that very brief background, the subject title of what you've proposed is a very poignant interest to me. Have we known each other before? Well, if my soul has incarnated on other planets before, what's to prevent them from incarnating on other planets as well, them being any soul. Any soul can incarnate on any planet that it wishes to, but our souls have chosen to incarnate at this time on this planet. We made that decision beforehand to learn the present lessons that Earth can provide for us and to assist in the preparation of evolution on a very accelerated scale, Earth ascension, and as Earth ascends, its souls also participate in that ascension. So, getting back to the subject title of this that you've proposed, David, if what I call my soul has incarnated on other planets as well, at other times, what's to prevent other souls from evolving into an accelerated consciousness on other planets? And that begs the very improbability, or let me put it another way. The experiences that I've had with my clients enhances the reliability of the concept that I've been forming that souls are independent of a particular planet. We talk of Arcturian souls or beings, extraterrestrials from Pleiades or whatever. But in truth, what I've found is that any soul can choose to incarnate on any planet. Therefore, there's a very great likelihood that souls who have evolved on other planets have chosen at this time to incarnate on Earth to assist in Earth's evolution and spiritual ascension. So, yes, we probably have met other souls who have evolved from other planets or evolved on other planets and have chosen to participate in Earth's ascension. I think that's a very likely probability. I've not come across any information that refutes that concept or idea. So, in a very real sense, I think that the souls that we meet every day in our physical reality could well have evolved on other planets and are now here to help us through their actions, words, deeds, thoughts, energies, to assist us to evolve in a more spiritual way, hopefully in a way that the technology does not outpace our spiritual development. I'm in my hypnotherapy practice, I've interviewed several souls who have reportedly evolved from or chose to be associated with particular planets that are here at this time to help us ascend. Pleiadians and Arcturians are some of the soul beings whose physical incarnations look very humanoid. And there's other life forms that have evolved on other planets whose physical life forms would look totally foreign to us as humans. So there's a great likelihood that on a soul level, the soul energies, the soul frequencies can recognize each other. But here on Earth, what we can become aware of is limited by our physical senses. So we can see and touch and taste and hear and feel with our senses, but those senses do not let us communicate directly with the soul level, except in cases where the barrier between our intellect, our physical intellect, and our soul consciousness, that barrier is broken through meditation or hypnosis or whatever form of activity allows that breakthrough. I found that hypnosis is a very powerful way to break through that veil of forgetting, so to speak, so that our physical senses can communicate with the soul part of each of our physical bodies. So,
Okay, yeah, thank you,
in a
Howard.
very real sense, to me, yes, we know on a soul level, we know and have met with, and even may have other civilizations associated with our own members of our own soul group.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you. And just quickly, you've written a book that's very relevant to what we're talking about, the ET Speak,
Yes.
channeled, and you've got a new book out just in the last couple of days or so, I believe.
Yeah.
Very quickly, if you want to say anything about either of those.
Well, the ET Speak was a compendium of the transcripts that we've had of recorded sessions with members of the Arcturian civilization, Pleiadians, Blue Avians, Antareans, Syrians, and the Greys as well, to find out really basically who they are and why they're here at this time. What is their interest in us? And the transcripts from several channels from several civilizations all seem to converge on the general concept that they are here to help us ascend peacefully as we prepare to move out into space travel within our own galaxy. They do not want us to export fear, aggression, war, and particularly atomic weapons into the galaxy. So that's why they're here. They're helping us to evolve, peacefully.
Thank you.
And you mentioned the second book.
Oh, yeah.
Just recently released on Amazon.com. It's called The Elephant in the Room and Other Anomalies. So my lifetime has been filled with paranormal experiences that I just call anomalies. From hearing voices, seeing beings, conversing with them, channeling through automatic writing, and direct information transfer. Instead of automatic writing, I preferred to use a typewriter or my computer keyboard, and it worked very well for me. So I've had a near-death experience, out-of-body experience, a wide variety of what I call anomalies or paranormal experiences. And of course, they do color my experience and my slant on things. So my own personal experiences, plus my experience with the hypnotherapy clients who have come to me, have helped me to form this overall plan or belief concept of how things work, both in the spiritual realm and in the physical realm. And things work very differently in the spiritual realm. They're not hampered by concepts such as distance or time. Those two things, distance and time, do not exist in the spiritual realm. So just by focusing your conscious soul attention on a being or place, you are there, wherever there is. So,
Okay, Howard.
teleportation. Go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you'd finished.
Well, teleportation is used quite widely in the spiritual realm as a means of getting from one place to another in the physical realm. And that's one of the abilities that we as humans are about to start dabbling in. We're beginning to teleport single atoms, playing with the quantum realm. But there's much more to come. So anyway.
Okay, Howard, thank you. I'm kind of aware of the number of people here, and the invitation is for each of you to have your say. So I'll
please do.
I'll sort of move on to the next volunteer. Actually, Kevin, you've had 2 goes at speaking. This is your go.
Okay, thank you. I'll just introduce myself. Thanks, Howard. I always love listening to what you're saying. It goes along the same lines as my own experiences. So, but to get confirmation from someone like yourself, I always like listening to you. So, thank you, Howard. Yeah, my name's Kevin Briggs. I'm an experiencer from childhood. I've had contact all my life, and so I now speak about it. Why I speak out was because about 8 years ago, I was at home. I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and then I came back to the bed, got in the bed. A bright light came outside the window. It came into the bedroom and lit it up like a myriad of butterflies. And 2 beings materialized at the bottom of the bed. I met these 2 beings first when I was 8 years old, and this is about 7 or 8 years ago now, this particular one. And after pleasantries, I asked what was the reason for their visit, and they said they want me to write about my lifelong contact with them. They wanted me to speak about it. And I remember saying, I don't mind speaking about it, but I'm not a writer. They said, well, we'll continue to guide you, we will continue to teach you, and we'll give you information to include in your book. And you will write 2 books. And I've written one. The following morning, I told my wife about the visit, and I started writing Spiritual Consciousness, a Personal Journey. And so that, but the beginning of the journey, that's where I am now, really. The beginning started when I was 3. I'll just go briefly. Obviously, there's a lot of people want to speak here, so I'll keep it brief. At 3, I realized my conscious energy was in a physical body again. At 8 years old, 2 beings, Art and D, materialized in the bathroom. And that frightened me to death at the time. And then at 9 years old, an orb came into my home, stayed from Sunday to Friday. After that, I was able to travel outside of the physical realm at will, a bit like what Howard's been describing, in the spirit realm, really, but really just separating my consciousness from the physical realm and going and traveling. And then but I didn't use it. I didn't go very far then. I didn't know the full potential of it then. I do now. At 14, I was asked to go and meet with a group of 8 beings, and I was transported to a mothership where I was introduced to these 8 beings, where I'm still in contact with them to this day. I refer to them as the Council of 8, and 2 of them are the 2 that materialized in my bathroom when I was 8 years old. Art and D, they are Arcturian, they are guides and teachers. And the main thread of their education my whole life has been one of understanding consciousness, to now where I can use it for communication, for travel, for healing, for education, for creation and co-creation. And because I'm able to do that, I can communicate with them at their level of consciousness. And they gave me an equation for calculating the frequencies of consciousness at each dimension, which has just been published in Ray Hernandez's book, A Greater Reality. And if anybody's interested in Ray's book, it's not only is it fascinating, it's A Greater Reality by Ray Hernandez. It's quite a big book. You can get a free copies, PDF file copies of all 5 volumes. If you go to a greaterreality.com, and then you can download all 5 books there for free. I was asked to be a contributing author, and I have a chapter in volume 5. And volume 5 are chapters from experiences like myself. So very fascinating to read if you're interested in that side of the contact. So I'll leave it there because I say obviously other people want to have a talk, and I like listening to other people's experiences. I always find it fascinating. So thank you, David.
And just quickly, do you think we already know each other?
Yes, I think so. Yes, I think from my perspective, that from the soul level, I suspect we do, and we're guided by the spirit realm. I mean, Howard talks about this. The ascended masters, we're guided by the angelic realm, probably all the way up to the divine itself. We are guided from that soul level, and I think someone mentioned earlier here that we incarnate here. We know we're coming down. We're here at this specific moment in time because of what people call the ascension. I don't have a word for it, but my guides, my ET extended star family, tell me that they are here to assist with our evolution, and they want to reveal themselves globally to our society to help with that evolution. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm working on. And interesting, what I think it was Charles was talking about, the different science theories that we have at the moment. I'm not a scientist, but they gave me a download of the quantum unified field theory explaining our scientists' understanding of it in relation to the non-locality, duality, and entanglement, which is correct. But it's the non-locality, duality, and entanglement of consciousness itself in all matter. And I didn't know anything about that. And they give me that information in an instant, which is called a download. And then on that occasion, I always ask for confirmation. I said, you've just given me all this information about the quantum unified field theory, which I know nothing about. Can you show me a craft to confirm the information has come from you? A craft appeared immediately. I went inside to get my wife to witness it. We went back outside, a second craft, third, four, five, six, 7 craft appeared, flew silently over our heads, and then disappeared sequentially as they had appeared. So, but my contact's quite extensive, and it has been since childhood. But I have a particular mission here. My mission is to help facilitate the reveal globally of our star family's presence. So I'll leave it at that. Oh, if anybody's interested, you can always send me an email. I can answer your questions. kevinjamesbriggs@gmail.com. So just my name, kevinjamesbriggs@gmail.com.
If you want to type it in the chat, Kevin,
Okay.
anyone that's interested can just pick it up from there. Thanks. Thank you, Kevin. Next volunteer. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Joe, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet.
That's fine.
Having listened to Howard and Kevin, very much concur with their perspective on things. I'm also a past life and soul retrieval therapist. The Arcturians that to me probably about 2+ years ago. So I'm in regular telepathic contact with various different galactic races. Lots more that I could say, but essentially I'm in agreement with their perspective on things.
Okay, and does that include, yes, we already know each other? Or...
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, then, Joe, thank you. And thanks for keeping it a little short, because I was getting a bit anxious. Oh, gosh, there's so many people here, and I'm going to invite them all to talk. And yeah, would have brought sandwiches along. All right, then. Thank you. And next volunteer, I can see Laura's hand up. If you want to go ahead next, please, Laura.
Yes, I can also be very brief because
Okay.
I have not had any direct experiences, and I'm not even all that knowledgeable about the history, etc. But
By the way, Laura, that's absolutely fine. You know,
yes, it is
I
absolutely.
know there's people coming on here with lots of things to say, including me, and there's going to be people present who don't have all these experiences. This session is for you just as much as it is for anyone else. Please,
Oh,
please go
yes,
ahead.
I feel so. And what Joe just said, I also very much related to what Kevin and Howard had to say. My perspective is from the spiritual reality perspective, that whether it's something as far out as ETs or something as down to earth as diet and exercise, I always take the spiritual perspective. And I do believe that we are engaged right now in the midst of a very important spiritual war. And I think that, have we known each other before? Yes, we certainly have. We've all had many, many lifetimes in many, many different worlds and realms. And right now, I think things are coming to a head quite dramatically, and we are going to see some kind of a breakthrough, I believe, in our lifetime. And so it's all quite exciting, and I'm just very interested in learning all I can. And I'm very pleased that I signed on to this today because I'm finding it really beneficial and interesting. And I really want to thank Kevin and Howard for their really valuable contributions. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, and Laura, so I'm adding two and two and guessing that yes, we already know each other.
We know each other, and uh, I believe that I am being protected and guided and watched over by beneficial energies,
Mm.
which is, I think of them more as consciousnesses than as
Yeah, sure.
extraterrestrials. But they're here,
Yeah.
and they are beneficial. There's all kinds, though. We do have to be careful.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't contradict that. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, Laura.
thank you.
Okay. And any other volunteers before I start picking on people? Sylvia, thank you. Sylvia and your friend.
Hello. Yes. Hi, Dave. This is my friend Laura, and
Hi,
she's
nice to
very
meet you.
interested in any ET phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I personally haven't. I I'm not sure. The thing is, uh, I don't think I've got direct experiences, even though I've been told by a spiritual medium that I have some ET lineage.
Oh,
I've been told
Victoria,
that.
you said, didn't you? You said you're
No,
up.
Pleiadian, I think he said, or something like that. But I don't have any remembrance or anything like that. But I think that Laura, she can talk. She can say that she has witnessed uh ships basically.
Okay. Well, in the sky?
Yeah, yesterday when I was
Oh,
supposed to be
this is
like,
very recent then. Yeah,
yeah,
yesterday.
yesterday I was texting a friend. I always have like my curtains wide open just in case like I see something in the sky. And I saw this massive green round spaceship and it was quite close. In the past when I thought I saw something, they've been quite in the distance, but this was really close. But I think the reason why I got to see it was because the day before my friend was telling me about his alien experience he had, and he told me to keep it a secret, which I have. And then I said in my head, because I've kept his secret about his alien experience, can I see like a spaceship closer? And then last night, I saw one really quite close outside my bedroom window. And um, I did question it. I did Google it to see if any it could have been anything else. But it's just obvious that it was a spaceship because it was like so close. It did freak me out a bit, but I was also like really happy at the same time.
Okay. When you say it did freak you out a bit, oh, and it's quite natural to be scared. Was that how it was for you?
Pardon?
Sorry, say
I
that
said
again.
it's quite natural to be frightened by stuff we're not familiar with.
Understand.
I'm just
Yeah,
wondering if that's how it was for you, and
What a
yeah,
bit
how
scared.
yeah. Well, I did try and take a picture of it as well, or
mm,
a video. but I couldn't for some reason find like the camera button on my phone as well. But as soon as it flew over the roof, I could see I could see my camera button straight away. So I'm thinking like they didn't want me to take any pictures, and I was sort of like a bit freaked out but excited at the same time. But then just as I
Okay.
was going to just
All
as
right.
I was
Yeah.
going to bed, I felt a bit more scared when I was going to bed. I was like, ah.
Okay.
But I'm also like really grateful for the experience. But I'm gonna try and draw it as well, but I'm not really
Yeah.
like a
She's
It's
yeah.
interest.
Gonna draw.
It's interesting.
draw the
It's on
thing.
this summer solstice as well. So that's
Yes.
another
Yes. Oh, I
thing.
forgot about that. That it
Yeah.
was summer solstice yesterday.
Okay.
Also,
I don't know if the question has much meaning to you, but I'll ask it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you think we already know each other?
Well, when you came on when we got on the Zoom call, because Sylvia's told me about you, I sort of like as
No,
I
I
could
don't. I
see,
don't mean me and you know each other. I
yeah,
mean, do you think extraterrestrial beings and us know each other already?
yeah, definitely.
Okay. And Sylvia?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I
Okay,
think
sure.
there's been a lot of goings on throughout history. Basically,
Yeah,
my personal belief is that from very, very deep depths of our civilization history, basically, maybe the fact that we're rational thinking human beings rather than apes has to do with alien intervention in our lives. That's my thinking. But
Okay.
yeah,
That's great. That's all I was asking. Thank you both. Thank you both for sharing that.
thank you.
thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll put the hand down now. How do I do that?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no worries.
And the next, who'd like to speak now? Oh, Wendy.
Unmute myself.
Hi, Wendy.
Oh, hi, I'll be very brief so everyone else can have a chat. I'm Wendy. I live about 6 miles from where Dave lives in the middle of England, in a place called Warwick. I have known that there's others since I was a small child. I've been a science addict all my life, so I started watching the stars at 8 or 9 years old and saw, all kinds of interesting things flying around. So I've never ever doubted um, the existence. But of course, it became a topic of ridicule for a very long time. And if you're a serious professional, you have to keep quiet about it. However, as the 1990s progressed, I got back into my interest really, mainly because I was doing spiritual meditation practices based on ancient Indian, the Vedic wisdoms, and the Vedas are very clear about what's happened before. Battles in the sky, flying vimanas, major weapons, all that kind of thing. And it just is that those, I believe, are basically where the Greeks got their War of the Gods from, and many others. And then you get into Egyptian history, and you really start realizing there's something totally different going on. So I've been following the science, cosmology, quantum physics, and the ET phenomena for a long time. I do C5 with Dave, and I've done C5 with Stephen Greer several times in the USA, and supported him when he came to London last year, and on a number of things. I've been in one of his movies. So I don't have any doubt. I think people who are quoting current science like the speed of light need to understand that whole model of science is broken, that we're about to have a complete paradigm shift in maths, cosmology, physics generally. And a reminder also that most of our history was written by Victorian British, who just totally discarded ethnic histories. So as soon as you start looking at ancient stuff, you realize there's a whole other story going on. And so that's where I am. Do I have experiences? Yes. I don't make a big song or dance about it because it's kind of part of life now. And Yeah, so that's it really. I do help and support people who call me. They manage to get hold of me if they've had what they think is a bad experience. I can usually point out to them that it isn't. And do occasionally do talks and stuff, but like Dave, I just share knowledge where I can. So that's me.
No, thank you, Wendy. And as I noticed in part of what you were saying there, you addressed the other aspect of the question: do we already know each other? So, in terms of the history of planet Earth and the history of humanity and the history of extraterrestrials, I surmise from what you were saying, we've all known each other for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, my study of Vedic philosophy as well as Buddhist philosophy and many others, we are eternal and we have the whole of eternity to play, and so we play together in lots of places. And I do actually think as well, when you visit some places where the people just disappeared, I mean, the Four Corners in America, you go to where the Anasazi were, they just disappeared. The Mayans, to a large extent, an entire civilization just disappeared. The people from Angkor Wat just disappeared. I think whole groups of people are here and then they decide to go. And they'll go off and play another game because this is a hologram. What we're playing in is a 3D hologram. And that's why spirits, ETs, spirits, dimensional stuff, it's now all beginning to combine together, isn't it? Because we've been living in a 3D illusion, as per Plato and everybody else told us. So we will start seeing, as the sun is changing its output significantly, the Earth's magnetic shield is failing very rapidly now, as we can see by what's going on around the world. I think we will literally start to see other dimensions much more easily. And some of those will have ETs in them. Some of them will have ancestors in them, or angelic beings, or not so angelic beings, I think. And I think we need to be prepared for that. And I'd quite like to help people prepare for that. But unfortunately, most people just, they'd rather live in their 3D reality until, whatever happens, happens.
It will happen when they're ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. Okie dokie. And the next. I'm wondering if I'm going to have to start pointing people out and inviting them to come forward. James, my eyes fall on you. How do you feel about speaking up now?
Are you referring to me?
Yep.
Okay. My name is James Clarkson. I'm from Washington State. That's how we know Howard Beatty. And I'm here because I just heard about this group yesterday.
Yeah.
I have been fascinated for many, many years by the history of humanity in relation to UFOs and ETs. So I am not a direct experiencer, but I have studied UFO history extensively, and I've been lucky in a couple of instances. I have done public outreach. I've given lectures at various places across the country. I did a lot of work in public libraries because my wife was the regional children's librarian when I met her, and she got me to go to a place called Ocean Shores in 1993 and give a talk in a library to 40 or 50 people. Afterwards, a very stern, serious elderly woman approached me, looked me straight in the eye, and she said, "You're right. The government knows all about UFOs and they're keeping it a secret." And I said, "Well, how do you know?" And she said, "Because I worked there." It took her, I asked her if she would tell me more, and she wouldn't. And I think she was a little bit afraid of me because I did not keep it a secret, although this was not anything official. At that time, I was a detective sergeant for a police department not far away from Ocean Shores. My background has been in investigations, law enforcement, very rational, logical, and now I'm finding that I need to break through and get past that. Thankfully, with the help of my wife and with people like you. But getting back to my little story, in 1997, 4 years later, this lady called me on the phone. Several news stories had broken. That was the year that was the 50th anniversary of the Roswell crash. There was a great deal of attention. The X-Files were going full bore on television. People were talking about UFOs and aliens, right and left. And then on March 13th of 1997, we had the Phoenix Lights, which I believe is one of the most important UFO events that has ever occurred. CNN, later on in the year, after the Air Force published a book called Roswell Case Closed, it went all over the news, got maximum attention. You know, you can write a tremendous book like the gentleman was talking about a while ago, and it gets relegated to the fantasy section of the local bookstore, or myths, or new age woo-woo. But if you're the Air Force and you write a book, which in my opinion is based on utter nonsense, called Roswell Case Closed, you put that book out and suddenly you've got maximum news coverage. Well, in this particular case, it backfired. This lady, whose name was June, called me on the phone. I had not heard from her in 4 years. The first thing she says to me, "It's a damn lie." And I said, "Well, good to hear from you, June." And we went on from there. And she started telling me all these things about how, when she was a young woman, she had worked in top secret laboratories at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And a woman could not have a big title, but what she was a clerk, an administrative staff member who kept getting promoted. And she had to have the same security clearance as everyone else who worked there, because she had to handle these documents. And of course, there were no computers. Everything was on paper. Everything had to be secured in safes. And some of us actually remember what a typewriter was like. Nowadays, nobody can quite understand that, but they even had to take the ribbons out of the typewriter and put those in the safe at night, because the things they were working on were extremely classified. Bottom line, how these people discuss UFOs behind closed doors and what the Air Force tells the public are two totally different stories. So a year later, unfortunately, I only had about a year with June, but I did get that year. I became her friend. I would spend a lot of time with her. I interviewed her. Eventually, I got her on tape. When she was on hospice care a year later and she was getting ready to pass on, I said, "What do you want me to do?" And she said, "Jim, I want you to tell my story." So I wrote a book called Tell My Story, June Crane, the Air Force, and UFOs. And in that book, I revealed that she is, in a couple instances, she was a direct witness. But in point of fact, her main benefit, she is a key corroborating witness to the reality of the UFO crash retrieval program. And I had all of her personal documents. I got her on tape, etc. But in any event, I'm trying to shorten this up. It's a long, involved story. I've been to Roswell many times. I'm very proud of the fact that in 2022, I was there for the 75th anniversary, where we had 13,000 people through the doors of the UFO Museum in 3 days. And I was just one of many of the people who studied Roswell at great length. So I've been very fortunate. That's my angle on this. But I'm trying to have my own experience, and I don't want to take up too much time. I will just tell you, perhaps this would be good for next time. I did finally have an extraordinary experience a couple of years ago, but it wasn't UFO or alien, I saw a ghost. And this was at a ghost conference, which is even stranger. And even stranger than that, it occurred in the men's bathroom of a theater building that is about 150 years old. It's in a historical town that's been perfectly preserved, and they have a ghost conference there. But that's another whole story. But I'm here to just try and learn methods and ways that I can quit getting in my own way and have my experience. To answer your primary question, I believe yes, the ETs know us very well. And I think reality is like a very intricate woven carpet, and we're too close to it to see the weave, but the weave is always there. The master's touch is there. If we just knew how to look for it and how to appreciate it. But I thank you. That's my story.
Okay, James, thank you. Thank you very much. Just very quickly, I'd like to ask you a question. Um, from what I'm hearing, from what I understood of what you said, it leaves me wondering what started your interest in the first place?
The first thing that I can truly recall, oddly enough, it was because of a radio broadcast. And
Okay.
part of this is because I, at a very, very early age, I always knew that I wanted to be a police officer. And I did that. I had a successful 20-year career until my knee went bad. And then I became a fraud investigator. And I did I've been a child abuse detective. I've done, whatever I could by way of that kind of service. But I was listening to the radio one night, KGO radio in San Francisco, which is where I grew up. A man named John G. Fuller was being interviewed live over the air because he had just come out with a book titled Incident at Exeter, referring to a very famous series of UFO events in Exeter, New Hampshire in the mid-60s. They involved the local police, numerous civilian witnesses. There's a great deal of detail. I was totally fascinated because I thought, how is it that we try and select a police officer? We try to get someone in good physical condition. We do a background check on them. We give them an intelligence test. We hang a gun and a badge on them, and we give them this authority. We've tested their eyesight and everything else. And when they come in and they say, we've seen a UFO up close and personal, and I know that this is what I saw, suddenly nobody believes them. There's this wall of ridicule that comes down. And that kind of puts something in my mind that never quite went away. And I ended up joining the Army. And while I was there, I was a plainclothes military policeman. And on a military base, if you wear a coat and tie and you're driving a plain unmarked car, you get a lot more respect than you would think your rank really deserves. So I did not advertise that I was just an enlisted man. I didn't have to. When I pulled up and pulled out my credentials and said, military police investigations, I need to enter here. Well, anyway, there's a reason I mentioned that. One night I was up by the desk sergeant because we worked 24-hour duty days, and I looked down at this big piece of plexiglass. This is in the military police station. The desk sergeant is one of the key people in the building. Everything goes through him. He has all these telephones, and underneath this plexiglass are all these business cards. And I'm up there and I look down and I see a card that says National UFO Reporting Center, 206-722-3000. And I said, what's that? And he says, well, that's where we report UFOs. And I went, oh, really? And I kind of filed that away in my mind. Well, flash forward several years, very famous UFO sighting, December 1986. A JAL pilot named Kenji Toroshi flying a JAL cargo liner into, I believe, Fairbanks or Anchorage. and he sees a UFO that's like several city blocks in size in the sky. The FAA, at first, they confirm it on radar, then they don't confirm it on radar. Back and forth. We found out later now, because of Leslie Kean's book, that the CIA actually intervened, told everyone to keep quiet, took evidence, etc. But I called that phone number. It turned out it was answered by a retired Seattle firefighter who founded the National UFO Reporting Center. His name was Robert Gribble. He passed it on eventually to a friend of mine named Peter Davenport. But I called up and I said, I don't want to report a UFO. I want to help. And they said, have you ever heard of MUFON?
Okay.
Well, that started me on a 30-year path. And the last 10 out of the 30 years, I was the Washington State Director of MUFON.
Oh, right. Okay.
For 10 years.
Thank you then, James. I'll have to move on now if you
I
don't
know,
mind.
it's too much.
Thank you for explaining all that. Is there a volunteer to go next? Nina, can I pick on you, please?
Yes. Hello. Yes, I was born in Finland, but I'm living now in UK. And all my life, I've been interested in everything spooky, all paranormal, UFOs, mediumship, everything. And I haven't seen anything myself objectively. I can't touch, but in my mind's eye, I have seen. And it all started when I was trying to develop my mediumship. And suddenly I started seeing symbols.
Symbols?
Yeah, light language. Yeah. I call it light language, but it could be ET symbol, whatever. But then I asked the energy, who are you? Who's sending these symbols to me? And I saw a cricket. Mantis being.
A mantis being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since, I've been doing light language videos. I make kind of 1-minute clips on my TikTok account, and people find those very comforting when they are homesick and they miss home, because human body is very dense to be in, because we are light beings, we are light. So people are very comforted by the videos, and it helps with the homesickness. So that's what I do at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. So if I asked you the same question I've been asking everyone else.
We are stardust. We are all stardust. We are same consciousness. Yeah.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And it's nice to meet you as well. Thank you. I can see Brian's got his hand up.
Yeah, I could volunteer next. This is a really good meeting.
Okay.
Let's see. I've been very seriously interested in ufology about 20 years. I'm been a Buddhist teacher for the last 30 years with the Thai tradition, so I have a Theravada Buddhist worldview. And I'm the organizer of this meetup. And a while ago, I asked people, would anyone like to host meetings? And David decided to host a couple of meetings, the second one. So I'd like to extend the invitation to you. People, you're quite impressive. If you ever want to host a meetup on Zoom with this meetup group, you can even use my account, get in touch with me. My name's right on the meetup, or I can put my email address here. But meetup, it's good to use the meetup group. It's available, got 800 members, so it's good to have lots of meetings. I did create quite a community.
Yeah, Brian, everybody that's here haven't necessarily come through the meetup thing, so it'd be good to put your email address in the chat after you've finished speaking, so that
I'll put a link to the meetup too. Yeah, so my story about the subject matter, I saw a UFO on May 28, 2009, my first UFO. What was coincidental, but it was 6 days before I founded the Vancouver UFO meetup group. Our first meetup was 6 days after that. So I saw a small UFO, maybe a small spherical object about 5 feet across. It was just like 200 feet away. So it was quite close. And later I met with Grant Cameron. He's like Canada's best known ufologist. He says, well, if you've seen a UFO, you're part of the game. So I took that as kind of a signal, because the UFO meetup group became an immediate success. We'd have meetings, about 20 people know in person, and we met various experiencers who came together and made connections. So it was for the UFO community. It was a happening scene. So I think like I'm not aware of the ETs, but I think they're aware of us. So I think they're aware of me starting this UFO meetup group. Another experience I had in terms of awareness was I met Jeff Selva here in Vancouver. He's an experiencer with the gray aliens. He published this book, The Rising, and he's got lots of videos. So he's had a particular relationship with one gray ET calls an elder, like a grandmotherly kind of figure. And he would allow me to ask her questions to him. So he has this kind of mediumistic relationship. So I had a bit of back and forth with his elder ET. So in that sense, I've had kind of a relationship with the Greys, and they're aware of me and they're aware of Jeff's future. So I think they have a sense of the future. So yes, I think they're aware of what I'm doing. So yeah, that's the answer to the question. Like, do we know each other? I'm not aware of knowing them throughout my life. I really haven't had any ET experiences, but I think they're aware of me and aware of us, and they know our history better than us. And I'm with a particular school of thought in ufology. I've got a video called Brian Drew's ET Hypothesis and Sources. So I think they're here to, I think they've been hybridizing us since the 1800s, since around 1850 they've arrived. And they're led by the mantis ETs, which direct the Greys. So I think they have this long-term, centuries-long process of hybridizing humanity. I think they're trying to upgrade us to create a society that's telepathic and tuned with higher dimensions of existence and a more spiritual orientation to society. So I think they're bringing about this change very consciously and deliberately, beginning with the spiritualist movements in the 1800s. I think they're behind that and a lot of our technical developments. So I've got this hypothesis. I'm willing to change it. So I've interviewed people. Recently, I interviewed Barbara Lamb in San Diego. She's a well-known hypnotherapist who's regressed like 3,000 people with ET experiences. Get her feedback on my hypothesis. So I always invite people to do videos with me critiquing my hypothesis. And she added something to it. She thinks walk-ins are a factor. Some ETs choose to exchange life with a human who wants to leave and they take their body. So that adds to my hypothesis. So I'm always willing to change my hypothesis. So I try to base it upon evidence. So I think of like 10,000 cases, like Kevin mentioned, Ray Hernandez organization, Conscious Contact Research Institute. I've interviewed him and about 10 members of that organization. And they've done studies with like 4,350 people had ET related experiences. So I try to be evidence-based upon what experiences are actually reporting. Yeah, so that's basically my story. And yeah, if anyone's interested in hosting meetups, I'll put my my email in the chat here.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Now we're getting towards the people who've been waiting a long time. Isabel, I can see you there. You ready to speak?
Sure. I'm Isabel Berendsa. I live in the Netherlands. I'm a regression therapist and an intuitive. And in both ways, I've encountered ETs, both in sessions with clients and myself. And as an intuitive in real time, when I was, for instance, with groups working on cleansing areas, often there were lots of beings present that were just, seemed to be curious about what we were doing. I'm not clairvoyant. I didn't see them, but I did sense them. And there's really lots of different ones. Some are very benevolent, others are more neutral, usually not, how do you say that? Not benevolent, just sometimes a bit impersonal. So that's my experience. I think in answer to your question, do we know each other? I think we're all galactic beings, and well, we just happen to be terrestrial at the moment. But I think we've all been extraterrestrial at some point in our soul existence. So yes, I think we all know each other, not personally, but different species. I've myself also in sessions seen myself on different planets with different kinds of species. Lots of them, what they have in common is telepathic communication. And like Howard was talking about teleportation, myself, I have often wondered about my own tardiness on occasion, where I do remember appointments, but forget that I need to get there. So that the traveling takes time. And that's really a very strange to become aware of that you think, yeah, that's I have that appointment, and then you just completely forget that it takes you an hour to get there. So very yeah, recognizable. So that's yeah, basically what I have to say right now.
Okay, Isabel, thank you, and if you don't mind, I'll move quickly on because people are
Right.
waiting. People have been waiting a long time now. Carla, I can see your videos on, yet I can't see you. If you wish to speak, I don't mind if you prefer not to be on camera, that's fine. But if you wish to speak, now's a good time. You're on mute at the moment.
There. This is an event I participated in because I wrote strong curiosity, although I've not done the research that a lot of other people have in this area. I personally can't say that I've seen a UFO, but I've had some experiences through dream states that were a little unnerving.
Okay.
Couldn't really give any explanation where I was an attempt to abduct, what I take as an abduction, because I was being pulled out of my bed and I was not very happy about it in this state. And there was a lot of resistance. And then the feeling was that whoever or whatever was trying to take me away gave up. And I woke up feeling like I had been dropped on my bed. So that was a little weird. When I was
that, how long ago was that?
This was probably probably around 2005, 2006.
Okay, yeah.
And I've had many states of I've had a lot of experiences with what I've considered paranormal activities. I've had people visit me in my dreams that were very vivid and very real, to the point where when they departed and no longer visited me in that state, it was because they were told they couldn't come and see me anymore, that it wasn't in my best interest. And this was a deceased relative. So occurred during my pregnancy with my son, which I thought was kind of odd. This had to do with my father, who had passed away prior to my ever marrying. So he would have never known my grandchildren or his grandchildren. So that occurred over several months during my pregnancy. I had frequent visits from him, and the last visit, he was told he couldn't come anymore. When I was a child, my mother had come home from, she was an avid bridge player, and it was summertime in Montana, and the women were chatting outside, and they happened to see what they thought was a UFO, and they proceeded to get in the car and follow it. And they got up in this more hilly area where this UFO seemed to be traveling, and it was at a pace where they could follow, but then it stopped when they got to the top of this bluff. And then when it stopped, they stopped, and they just sat and kept watching it, and it came very quickly toward them and then went in the other direction in such a quick speed that they thought there's no way this was a star or anything else. It had to have been a UFO. And I can remember that story. I was only probably 5 or 6 years old, but that story has always really stuck in my head. So I've always had a fascination with
Okay.
the unknown.
Okay. Do you associate ETs with the what do you call it? The experiences, uncomfortable experiences, if we call it that, like in your bed?
I in that instance, I did feel that that's what it was, and
Mm.
I had that experience in the past, and yet I've had many experiences with seeing apparitions, but nothing that ever really. There was just, it was sort of like they would appear, and never felt a threat to it. The only other experience I had was sitting in my bedroom one day. I was totally awake, and I felt this sense of an uncomfortable energy pass through me, and it went toward my son's bedroom. And I had what people have been calling this paralysis. I couldn't move,
Yeah.
and yet my husband at the time, you need to go check our son, and he looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, he says, you go check him. And I said, I can't move. And I said, this feels really bad. You have to go check him. And I'd never had that experience before. Anytime I'd ever had a sense of an energy or an apparition, it was always a little unnerving because you don't expect it when it occurs. But I never felt threatened or that there was anything evil until that one moment. And then when I had the dream where it didn't seem evil. Whatever they wanted me to do or wherever they were trying to take me, I didn't want to go. And I was fighting them with all my energy. And I felt
Yeah.
like they finally gave up. It was too much trouble.
Okay. I see. Uh, thank you, Carla. 'Cause we only have a few minutes to talk to each person in this. There's all sorts of questions we could ask, but thank you for sharing what you've been able to share. In terms of the question I've been asking everyone, do you have a view on it? Do we already know each other?
I think they probably know a lot more about us than we do about them.
Yeah, it would seem that way, wouldn't it? Yeah. Thank you.
Advanced. They are.
Thank you, Carla. Okay. If it's okay with you, I'll move on now.
No problem.
Okay, so going down to the last few people, this is, so I'm looking at Lisa, Kevin, HB, and Taylor. If any of you would like, I don't think I've missed anyone out, but if any one of you wish to speak up, would you just take yourself off mute? You don't have to put your camera on if you don't want to. Oh, HB, you've come off mute.
Hello
Okay.
everyone.
Welcome, first of all. Welcome and thank you. Thank you for coming forward. So, HB, if I can call you that,
Mhm.
do you have experiences? Do you have a view on
I,
this?
I don't have any experiences. I'm very envious.
Okay.
I've never seen a UFO. I've never seen an ET, but I've been reading a lot. This is my bookcase in my bedroom. I also have quite a few bookcases in my living room downstairs, but I keep all the UFO related books, metaphysics related books in my bedroom because I want to be close to them.
I see.
I
Yeah.
have lots of reincarnation books.
Yeah.
I have all the major publications on reincarnations. Okay, this is famous book by Ian Stevenson,
Oh
the
wow. Yeah.
Canadian psychologist who studied reincarnation
Yes.
for
Yes, I know.
years, and he
Yeah.
passed
Yeah.
away. And
Yeah.
there's also reincarnation, religions and society. I also have lots of books about UFO. I'm currently reading alien abduction files.
Okay.
And Betty and Barney Hill. Alien
Okay.
abduction. This is a very famous case, but this is I've been reading a lot about them. I
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
personally I visited Roswell, New Mexico,
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, and I made quite a few friends.
Good. Good to
That's
hear.
my story. That's my story.
Do you mind me just asking you a question? The same question I asked earlier to one of James, I think it was. Where do you think this comes from? What is it that started this for you?
From childhood.
Okay, so
No reason.
it's
Ever
something
from childhood.
something that's been there for you for as many years as you can remember. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I first learned about Roswell when I was a child, and I was born in the military in China.
Okay.
And I always wanted to see Roswell, New Mexico. And a couple of years ago, it was a dream come true experience.
Mm.
I traveled to Roswell with my dog.
Your
I went
dog,
there as a
okay.
believer and I left as a firmer believer.
All right.
HB is one of our local Vancouver members. He was in our in-person meeting just a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah. With his dog.
we
Yeah,
went
we
to
saw
Roswell.
her.
We went to
I love it.
Okay.
And this is Skinny Bob.
Skinny Bob. Okay.
Skinny Bob.
Welcome, Skinny Bob. And in terms of the question that I've been asking everyone, do you have a view on that? Whether we've known each other a long time?
I have more questions than views.
You got more questions for me
As
than
I've
I've got for
I've
you.
been reading it. There's some people, at the meetup groups, there are some people said the aliens had no malicious intentions towards human beings. But I also read lots of stories about aliens treating human beings very badly.
Yeah,
Like,
there's different stories, aren't there?
yeah, there are no human rights. There are no human rights. They just strip you. They just strip you without your consent, and then they give you medical tests.
Yeah.
And then they dropped you. They
Sorry?
dropped you from their spaceship, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a conversation that we don't really have time to go into now, but I acknowledge what you say. It isn't always a happy, glowing, joyful experience for everyone, and yeah, I acknowledge that. All right then, HB, I'll move on if you don't mind now.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm left with Lisa, Kevin, Sun, and Taylor. Does any of you wish to speak up? Kevin, you were chatting with us earlier. Do you want to? Is there anything that you wish to say still?
Yes, I can touch on the incarnation.
There's two Kevins.
Oh, you're going to talk to me? Sorry.
You're Kevin B. I'll have to call him Kevin. Kevin's son. Okay, then. Lisa, is there anything that you wish to say?
Hi there. I'm not going to put my video on. I'm just a very private person.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so I'm going to avoid the first question, but the personal stuff.
Yeah.
But with regards to the question that you asked for this, yeah, I think they've probably been here for millions of years, and they're very adept at doing what they're doing by staying out of the way. And I have a feeling that for whatever technology they're using, this is very simple for them to evade our perception.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they put much effort into it to do it.
Do you have any particular experiences?
Well, that's what I said. I don't talk about that.
Oh,
so
I see. I
I'm
misunderstood.
not going to answer that question.
Yeah. Sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you were talking about your name, but that's fine also. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else you wish to say before I move on?
No, I mean, I'm very interested in hearing the experience from the hypnotherapists that were here, that was very interesting. The feeling of being lost. And I also liked what the first person said. I don't think she's here anymore. The one that said when somebody was trying to take her, they made it appear like a dream, because I suspect what they do is they can knock your consciousness into a different state, like an altered state. They can force it into an altered state. And we tend to automatically believe whatever we're experience is what it always is. Just, it's almost like a naivety in which like animals experience us, they just take it at face value, and they know that, so they can knock your state of awareness into a different perception so that you think it's a dream, but it's like you're almost on alcohol or a drug or something like that, and you're not able to experience what's going on. It's just an idea I have.
All right then, Lisa. Yes. So it's those non-physical experiences, those experiences that happen within you, that you think that they have some abilities and some ways of working with us, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yeah, so I think it probably happens both ways. I suspect that there's probably more non-physical experiences people are having than physical ones. But if there's physical ones, then I think at the same token, I mean, just like you can take an anesthetic and get knocked out, right? Like I think they can probably knock your consciousness even while you're awake, and you're not aware of how, like you're not in your normal physical awareness state, and that you're still having a physical experience. I suspect that could be happening.
Yeah. Okay. It was Monique that spoke first, and I can see her in a picture there where she just you looked as though
she's
you were
completely
agreeing.
accurate.
Yeah.
I'm still here, and yes, definitely what she says, all that resonates completely. I just want to say thank you.
Okay. Thank you both. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Monique. I'll check on Taylor. Do you wish to say anything?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Hello.
Hi. I don't really have much to say. I'm here mainly because I had a very vivid contact experience when I was 17 or so, and I've just been absolutely captivated with this whole phenomenon. And I like being surrounded by like-minded people. So, I'm mostly here just to listen to, people talk about their experience and share and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay then, Taylor. Yeah. Thank you. In terms of the question I've been asking, do you have a view?
I've
You
really
don't have
thought
to
about
agree
it.
with everyone, by the way. You can
Yeah.
have your own view, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I really don't feel strongly one way or another.
That's fine. That's fair
Who
enough.
knows? Who knows? I'm open to
Yeah.
anything. So,
All right then, Taylor. Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for speaking up. As far as I can make out, Kevin's son, you're the only one that hasn't spoke yet. If you wish to speak, now's a good time. It's an especially good time because we'll move on if you don't. Okay. So it just leaves me to offer my thanks to everybody. I'm just gaining a little bit of experience at working in this way. It seems to be going quite well. I haven't really wanted to approach this in a way where pretending that I know all the answers. I don't. I have my views on it, and many people here have their views, and some of us have more experience than others, and that's fine. That's kind of healthy, and it's healthy for people to come to their own conclusions in their own way, and they don't have to be the same conclusions that I've come to. But thank you all. I shall have a chat with Brian probably in the next day or so, and I'm interested in holding another one next month if everyone else's. In fact,
Yeah,
just
yeah, let's
before,
do it. Sure.
yeah. In fact, I just jotted down a title for it. Dear extraterrestrial beings, there are loads of planets out there. What's so special about Earth? So that's what I'm proposing for the next one.
Very good. Yeah.
Okay, now.
You're a good host, Dave. You did a great job. Thank you. It makes
Okay,
my
thank
job
you all.
easier to just sit back and join.
Yeah. So thank you all once more, and it's time to get off and do the washing up and everything else, and feed the cat or whatever it might be. Oh, is that your hand up, Howard? Oh no, it's a little thumbs up. Sorry, I'm just not familiar with it all. Okay.
Thank you,
all.
David.
Thank you all. I'll bring the session to a close now.
Okay, thank
all.
you, Dave. Good to meet everybody. Some new
Thank
faces.
you.
Enjoying the meetup. We got the
All right.
meetup link in the chat.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
Thank
you put that in there, have you? Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone
Thank you, Dave, very much. That was great. Laura was trying to draw what she saw yesterday.
Oh, I
But
see. Yeah.
I don't normally draw anything, so
she's saying she's not like a good drawer overall. So
never
it
normally
might
draw
not be a very confident drawing, but that's kind of roughly
Okay, and
something.
is this local to where I live?
Nottinghamshire.
Long Eaton.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right.
Nottinghamshire.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
visiting
A few
Sylvia
miles
at the
away.
moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you then. Thank you all, and I'll end the session now. Right. Bye bye now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Dave.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
At least you didn't diss my drawing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.